Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today for an important, exciting announcement for the state of Florida. I'm Attorney General Ashley Moody. I am so honored to be joined and hosted by Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd. We also have with us President Scott Shalley with the Florida Retail Federation. We also have representatives from the Home Depot and other major retailers. State Attorney Brian Haas is with us, as well as the St. Petersburg Chief of Police Anthony Holloway. I'd also like to recognize the representatives from Walmart, Lowe's, and Publix. We have Manatee County Sheriff Rick Wells, Charlotte County Sheriff Bill Prummel, State Attorney Phil Archer with the 18th Judicial Circuit, State Attorney Brian Haas from right here in this area, 10th Judicial Circuit, the Melbourne Chief of Police David Gillespie. All have joined us today to talk about what will not be tolerated in Florida, as we are seeing around the nation, and that is organized retail theft. I could not be more proud of the folks that have worked on this initiative over the past year. We have put together a really talented team of investigators, state attorneys, law enforcement officials, as well as business representatives to participate on a statewide organized retail crime task force. Major cities outside of our state are seeing brazen criminals rush stores, stealing large amounts of merchandise, and rush out in an organized way, many people involved, with getaway cars waiting to take them away. Since taking office, since I took over as Attorney General, my statewide prosecutors have filed nearly 60 cases involving more than 250 individuals suspected of organized retail theft or crimes related to organized retail theft. And what we want to make sure, what we're talking about today, are not single incident petty thefts or shoplifting. These are massive rings, organizations, sophisticated organizations with leaders that use others in a coordinated way to infiltrate numerous stores within numerous jurisdictions to create a criminal enterprise in which they steal and then sell stolen merchandise. We do a good job in Florida. Many of the folks you see here today do a good job of going after theft and crime in their areas. But what happens is when it goes outside of the singular jurisdictions, it is much harder to piece together organizations and see how they are harming Florida throughout our state. And that's what today's announcement is today. While many other states have gone lenient on property crimes, Florida has not. And this is not rocket science. If you have leaders, if you have law enforcement officials, if you have prosecutors announce to criminals that they are deprioritizing crimes, criminals will focus on those crimes to make a profit. And when you see a rash of burglaries, of smash and grabs, of organized theft from retail stores, and you then see leaders come out and say, well, we're not going to tolerate this. We can't have this during the holiday season. It should be no surprise where this is happening. It's in places where criminals know they will not be held accountable for property crimes. And that will not happen in the state of Florida. As organized crime has increased, as organized theft rings have become more complex and sophisticated, so will we. And so today's announcement is a great step. Florida is leading the way strategically in combating organized retail theft, and I'm so excited to stand with my great partners today to make this announcement, especially since we know 70% of store owners across the nation have reported an increase in crime. That's intolerable, unacceptable, and that will not happen in the state of Florida. So today, with the Florida Retail Federation, local law enforcement, state attorneys, we are announcing a statewide task force, and most importantly, FORCE. It's a Florida Organized Retail Crime Exchange, a database, an exchange of information which allows us to track what seem like single incidents of theft and allow us to put together the pieces to identify the larger scale criminal organizations that are going into our stores and stealing large amounts of merchandise. And make no mistake, this does not harm just retailers. Every piece of merchandise stolen goes into a cost analysis which increases prices for everyday Floridians. So consumers that are trying to put presents under the tree this holiday season, trying to shop for family and friends, will experience higher prices because of the selfishness, greed, and escalating crime throughout our nation. Connecting the cases is key. And so law enforcement agents here with me today and prosecutors as well as business representatives will use force, the exchange of information, to identify those that are leaders of these organizations and those that they are recruiting and using to successfully complete their schemes. We know that juveniles are often recruited to commit crimes for these large criminal organizations because they think juveniles will never be held accountable. And if we allow that to keep happening without working these cases up and putting these organized crime leaders behind bars for a significant period of time, Florida may see what's going on in other states. And so thankfully we have great law enforcement tools now, great law enforcement leaders that will not let that happen. This holiday season, I want Floridians to feel safe and secure when they go out to our shopping centers. I want them to know that the leaders of Florida, Governor DeSantis, our House and Senate leadership will continue to make sure that these folks behind me have the tools they need so that Florida never becomes California. I'm going to turn it over now to a man that really needs no introduction, and that is Sheriff Grady Judd.
Thank you, General. We're really fortunate in this state that we have an Attorney General that is a visionary, that's on the forefront, that wants to make sure that Florida remains safe. Do you know the crime rate at Florida is at a 50-year low? And that doesn't just happen. It's because we hold prolific criminals accountable, because we put bad guys in jail. And I'll show you the difference. Look at California. Our prosecutors are standing up here with us today saying we're going to arrest and criminally charge people that commit theft and property crimes. And California's not doing so much. So really, if you want to steal, just go to California, okay? It's okay, because you're not going to do it here. You'll spend Christmas not with Santa Claus, but with Santa Judd at the county jail. That's a guarantee. Okay, so here's the deal. I like to first talk about our platform we give all of the retailers, and it says, you look, if you arrive at a store and you steal, there won't be any notices to appear. We put you in handcuffs, put you in a car, and take you to the county jail. Now, newsflash, we can tell the difference between someone that's stealing for profit and the 12-year-old kid that put some bubble gum in his pocket. We're talking about criminals. Walgreens closed 22 stores, five of them recently in San Francisco. The reason that happened is because of the local officials they elected out there that allowed that environment. And if you allow the criminals to steal, you can believe one thing, they will steal. Best Buy added security. Safeway was closing earlier. And then, of course, the flash mob that the General talked about at Nordstrom's in Los Angeles. Well, let me tell you something. If a flash mob comes into a store in Polk County and steals, they're all going to jail. And if we don't catch them in the store and they jump out in their cars, we're going to ram them in the parking lot and put them in jail. That's a guarantee. Write that down in your little book today. Still, the police are doing a great job wherever they are to try to keep a lid on it. But in other states, when you have prosecutors stand up and go, well, if they arrest you tonight, I won't file the charges tomorrow. I can tell you, Brian Haas, our state attorney, is not like that. He has our back. Phil Archer has our back. And the overwhelming majority of state attorneys in this state get it. And we're not going to have criminals overrun Florida. Think about it, folks. Florida is a beautiful state. It's where people come to open businesses, expand businesses, where they live, where they come to vacation and to play. There's no state in the world like the state of Florida. But if you're not safe and you don't feel safe, you go someplace else. Well, we were telling people, come to Florida because you're safe, you're going to feel safe. And for you criminals, we've got room in the jail. But here's what we're talking about, organized retail crime. When a van pulls up in a Walmart parking lot or any other business and has a trunk full of new televisions, in our business we call that a clue. You need to call us because this is not right. That's right. They pulled into a local Walmart. We were notified. We went there. They showed us receipts where they paid for these things. Oh, not so much. You didn't pay cash for all of that. We were not born yesterday. We were born in the morning, but not yesterday. So we started an investigation. What did we find out from them trying to return one television at a time? We found a multi-million dollar organized retail crime platform. So why has the Attorney General and her team been so fantastic? Look at the counties involved here. This is May 19. When you look and you see my colleagues here, most of them participated with us and with a statewide prosecutor. 14 counties, health and beauty aides, 8 judicial circuits, 6 suspects were hitting between 8 and 10 businesses a day. They had a system whereby they didn't go back to the same store until people had an opportunity to replenish. We estimate this operation that these folks stole $2 million worth of product. And then the one I just talked about, when we interrupted this over trying to exchange a television, which could have been easily overlooked had it not been for the brilliant team at Walmart and our detectives. We found out that they were altering and trying to return these. It affected 39 counties in Florida. They were operating up the entire seaboard of the United States, and they were operating out of the Atlanta metro area. Our detectives figured this out. 39 counties in this state alone. We estimate $3.6 million worth of theft, organized retail crime. So when somebody talks about shoplifting, we use that term because people understand the words. These aren't shoplifters. These people don't need to be NTA'd. It would have been real easy for them to say, no, you can't exchange that television here. Take a hike and call no one, and the beat would have gone on. But our detectives, who are simply the very best, got into this and figured it out. Then there's the baby formula case. You know, I'll never forget some of the troublemakers on social media said, oh, Sheriff Judd is arresting this woman who was trying to steal baby formula because her baby was hungry. Duh. No. This baby formula case was $84,000 during the investigation. They were stealing baby formula from all of the retailers. They were taking it to a guy in Orlando. Newsflash, he was just out of federal prison for similar crimes where he was the fence. 18 counties it affected. So now we have an Attorney General, Ashley Moody, who goes, we can do more. And we have our new computer system. Our retail federation team, this is a private-public partnership. They're hand in glove with us. They are subject matter experts, and because we work with the teams every day, we're able to stop theft. We're able to save money for those who are buying at retail. But more importantly, we're putting criminals in jail, because if they're not stealing at this store, they'll steal at this store. If they're not stealing in this county, they'll steal here. And if they're not in a store stealing, guess what? They'll be on a construction site stealing. So at the end of the day, General, we're safer in Florida because of you and Governor DeSantis. We love the fact that we don't listen to those folks who say, well, just let them out of jail. The poor things didn't need to be in jail in the first place. Oh, my goodness. And it turns out they've had 36 previous charges. They earn prison. They should have prison. The folks that we arrested here is being prosecuted or has been prosecuted by the AG's team. And as a result, that's why Florida has a record low crime rate and people are safe and feel safe in Florida.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thanks. I'm Scott Shalley, President and CEO of the Florida Retail Federation, and I could not be more excited to be here today on behalf of Florida's 270,000 retail establishments. The General really embraced this early on for us, and Sheriff and the others here, we thank you so much for your assistance. Retail is the backbone of our community, or our state, of our economy. Our local retailers hire your neighbors. 1 in 5 Floridians works in retail. We pay a bulk of taxes in the state of Florida. And we sponsor Little League teams and support your local community initiatives. And what's happening today is really threatening the ability of the retail community to survive at certain levels and to provide that support. And the word shoplifting just doesn't fit, and that's been said a couple of times. This is organized crime, and it's organized crime that's becoming more violent, it's becoming more dangerous. The proceeds are not going into the stock market, they're going into human trafficking, they're going into drug trade, and they're going into other violent crimes. So this group coming together is just an amazing accomplishment, and the leadership that's being shown here is providing a great boost to the retail community. And while we really value our law enforcement partners, I'm so proud of our retailers in that they are investing millions and millions of dollars every year to help in this fight. We recognize the limited resources of law enforcement and the strains on law enforcement. So our retailers are investing. They're getting very savvy in terms of the cases that they put together, and this is a huge step with force to work collaboratively to share information and get to where we need to be to get closure on these cases. So we're honored to have with us Tyson Roberts with us today. Tyson's a AP investigator with the Home Depot. He's one of many men and women that are on the front lines of this that are dealing with on a day-to-day basis and can speak to the scale of the challenge that is out there. So we very much appreciate all of you, and General, thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Tyson, and I work within the Asset Protection Investigations team with the Home Depot. This morning, I'd like to thank Attorney General Moody, her staff, her partners, the sheriffs that have worked diligently for months on end to help form this new task force to make today's announcement possible. In my various roles in asset protection and loss prevention, I've seen organized retail crime take many forms, but there are 2 things that are consistent. Number 1, these rings are formed up of criminal enterprises that go beyond petty shoplifting. They're professional thieves running a business, stealing merchandise from our retailers in our communities. And number 2, it's becoming increasingly easy for these groups to resell their stolen merchandise to unsuspecting consumers on online platforms and marketplaces. This is happening right here in Florida. We recently closed a case working with law enforcement where a Florida business owner was giving boosters shopping lists of items he wanted them to steal. That stolen product was then resold in a pawn shop and on an online marketplace. Law enforcement served a search warrant, and at that business owner's home, they recovered over $100,000 in stolen product. I'm telling you this story because these criminal networks hide in plain sight. They're able to do business anonymously on online platforms. Task force like force is necessary for us to have the resources to combat this growing problem and to bring coordination to all of our efforts. We're looking forward to working with the AG Moody and her larger team to stop theft and the resale of stolen product across the state of Florida and to keep our consumers safe. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to thank the Attorney General Moody for putting this together for us, because this task force just about that is a task force to handle organized crime. As the sheriff said, this is not about shoplifting. This is about organized crime. And through this task force, the main thing that's going to happen is there is no longer any city lines, any county lines, because we're going to be sharing that information with each other. So if you go to one county and do shoplifting in that county, and the other detectives from another county know that, we're going to share information on who you are and where you're from. So don't be surprised if someone comes knocking on your door, you think you made it out of that county, and put you in jail. So again, thank you very much, General, for putting this together. And again, it's not about shoplifting, it's about organized crime.
Good morning. I'm State Attorney Brian Haas from the 10th Circuit. I'd like to thank Attorney General Moody for creating this statewide task force to fight organized retail theft. It's just another example of her dedication to making a stronger and safer Florida, and we're so fortunate to have such a hardworking and dedicated Attorney General. As State Attorney for the 10th Circuit, I have the honor of working with Sheriff Judd and our other local law enforcement agencies to make sure that our community is a great place to live, work, and visit. As a prosecutor, I've seen the devastating impact of organized retail theft that has on our businesses. And you know, our local retail businesses, they are the heartbeat of our communities. And when they are victims of retail theft, all of us suffer. So the creation of this task force is really an important way for us to take on this problem head on. We each represent and serve our own communities and our circuits, but this problem is more than just one individual community. We've got to work together to solve this problem. So this collaborative statewide effort is exactly what we need to work together to stop organized retail theft. So as the state attorney for our circuit, I'm very proud to support this initiative, and I thank our Attorney General for all the great work she does for our state. Thank you.
All right, well, we appreciate you bearing with us while so many of our great partners shared with you how they will benefit from this innovative data exchange and new task force, and what it will mean for the state of Florida in strengthening, stabilizing, and securing our individual communities. And at this time, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them. All right. Well, we appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.